stuff going on. And coming up soon here to Big Dog Country Radio will be the Cash Can Giveaway. It'll be your chance to win $1,055. Cash Can coming back to Big Dog Country in Southeast Georgia in May. So get ready for that. 4 minutes after 8 o'clock, now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Jesup Premium Stores located out here on the Waycross Highway, and by Murphy Builder Supply located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup. Bob, good morning.
Good morning.
Where did you get any of your problems taken care of yesterday?
Still waiting on the phone call.
Still waiting on the phone call. All right.
Still waiting to hear what they tell me today.
Oh, boy. But you did hear that news story from Georgia News Network about the agreement that there's a lot of doctor's offices that are doing the same thing that hospital did up there in the Atlanta area. We're trying to work out some sort of agreement. All right, let's see here. We've got the election coming up here. Primaries coming up real soon. General election in November. We got a few local contested races. And Bob's got one of our county commissioners in here and also running for re-election. Bob, introduce our guest.
Again, Mike Roberts, District 3, commissioners in the studios. Also on the community baseball coach, so, baseball's on everybody's mind. So you're in that dugout, you've seen the bracket. Your thoughts on the team? Can they climb the ladder?
I think we're going to climb the ladder. I think we've got the pitching to get us there, and we've been hitting the baseball. We hadn't hit a lot of home runs, but we're hitting the baseball hard. We got people getting hits when we need to get them, and I know last Friday that felt about as good as anything I can remember when I got to go back in the dugout and dress out and be with the kids. They're pumped. They're ready to go. They believe in themselves.
Yeah, they're
so
very
I think
confident.
It takes a lot of it right there. You got to believe in yourself.
Long road. Looking at this bracket again. There's a lot of good baseball teams in the bracket, but it all begins Thursday again. The admission price has been set by the Georgia High School Association, $10 for everyone. So keep that in mind. So if you have a young child and they charge you $10, don't yell at the ladies at the gate. They have no control over that. That's all set by Georgia High School Association, but it's a $10 admission price for the doubleheader. And the if game on Friday, if it's needed, will be a $7 admission price. But in the studios with us is Mike Roberts. Again, to talk about his re-election campaign. Again, Mike, you and your family had to get together and decide whether or not you're going to seek another 4-year term. But after talking to the family, talking to the doctors, you decided to enter this race. Tell us how that decision came about.
I did. Talked to Dr. Pappas and Dr. Stern, and I just kind of asked them off the record. I said, what do you think? Am I okay? Can I do this? And they said, both of them said they thought it'd be good for me, And so then I sit down and talk to my wife and talk to my daughter, Casey. And, of course, at first they said, Daddy, just go fishing and relax. And then I said, well, I really don't want to. And they said, well, if you don't want to, then let's get after it. And so we rolled our sleeves up. And so anyway, I got real tickled the other day. My daughter, she brings me in. She's been wanting to get her hands on me anyway for PT. She's a personal trainer. She brings me in, makes me lay on the floor. And for about 20 minutes, I'm laying on the floor, rolling over on my bad side, getting on my hands and knees and crawling. And I said, well, really, what's going on here, baby? And she goes, well, you need to be ready in case you crash out somewhere. You can get yourself up.
And who's doing this to you again?
This is my daughter, Casey.
She's just not trying to get back at you a little bit for...
I don't know, Butch. I was kind of wondering
that. Things you did when she was a kid.
And I was laying on the floor there and having to roll over and get on my hands and knees and crawl. I was wondering, I said, is this payback or something?
That's what I would have thought. If it was been one of my kids that did that.
Was that the hardest sale to your wife and kids to enter this race?
It really was. It really was. I know they seen me at my worst when I, couldn't get up and couldn't get around, and they just said, why don't you just go fishing? Just relax and go fishing. And I said, well, I really don't want to. I said, I got a lot of things going on in my district. I've made a lot of friends in my district, and got a lot of projects going. I said, I'd like to stay around and finish those projects. And they just said, you just don't want to quit, do you? And I said, not really.
Well, Mike Roberts in here, county commissioner, running for re-election. And, a lot of times the families are like that. My dad had a stroke 6 years ago, and, then he broke his left hip. And the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, a lot of times you want to tell someone, just relax a little bit. But Dad can't do that. He's a goer. And it's always the thing is, if you don't use it, you lose it. And as long as you've got the doctor's permission and okay to do those physical activities, then one needs to be doing it. You'll get better the more active you are, up to the point where the doctors say you should be.
Yeah, I know Garrett Pye, that's who I'm smart.
Smart physical therapy.
Physical therapist where I've been going. He's going to turn me loose probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'll go to the gym and I'll have, Ted, Badami, and them they'll put together me a routine, and my daughter will probably hurt me a lot in there. And I've been working some with Albert. Albert's been hurting me a little bit too. So I've been getting getting hurt. I was glad to go to the ball field.
Well, again, this is an interesting election year, and not many contested races, but your races are much contested. You got 2 on the Republican ballot challenging. You got 1 on the Democratic side. Democratic candidate Kenny Teston, he'll be unopposed all the way to November, so this race is going to November. But the primary is on the 22nd of May, and that'll decide which Republican candidate survives. It could be a runoff. There's 3 people in the race, you, Farrell Cooksey, and Larry Brantley. Farrell Cooksey will join us tomorrow on the Butch Bob Show. But your thoughts on why do you think there's so many in your district running? Everybody else is unopposed. You're the only person that has opposition in this race. So any idea why that is?
I don't really know. I know that Farrell enjoys serving the county. He likes that kind of thing. Him and his family does. And I don't know anything about why Larry decided to get into this race, but, I'm just going to put my best foot forward and run on what I stand for and what I've been trying to do. And, I've been honest and upfront with my district, and I'll just see. I'll just see if they want me to stay in. They'll vote me in. If they don't, then I reckon I'll be doing some more fishing.
Well, there's 4 incumbents returning, so I'm sure you'd like to be the 5th returning. So you can.
I would. I like those guys. We get along good, and we've had some struggles with the budget and things, but we hired Ed in there, and we're coming up. We're doing the right things to get ourselves on solid ground. We'll get our shoulders squared up. We'll get us a contingent fund to hold on to, and we'll be in a lot better shape than we've been in the past. But so I'm really looking forward to that. I hope I get to stay around and be a part of it.
My question is, we got the school board, and we've also got the county commission race coming up. And in many of those situations, you don't have contested races. You even got the one in the school board where Joe's a new guy, and there's any opposition there. It's not like somebody's running against an incumbent. Why do you feel that sometimes that many of these elections each year, whether they're contested, because they're not contested, many of them are not, someone's not run against an incumbent, or if you do have somebody running in a race that where the incumbent has decided not to run for re-election, that only one person runs, why don't you think there's more people out there that says, hey, I want to be a county commissioner, or I want to be a school board member, or other elected official, and some of these races go year in, year out without somebody running against them? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I know Bruce doesn't have anybody running against him.
Yeah.
Big Joe McPip don't have anybody. And
they're both new.
And then you got Albert coming in running against Sharon. And then on our side over there, none of the guys, and they all expected somebody to run against him.
Yeah.
Ralph expected somebody to run against him. Boot was expecting it. Shag was expecting 2 or 3, and then all of them got a 0, and I got the call.
You got the 2 against it. Aren't you the lucky one there?
So I guess, we'll see.
You run across folks like that that say they like to serve, but I just don't want, the spotlight or something. I'm just wondering why so many people, there's so many uncontested races all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot of people will tell you that when you're a commissioner that it's not, people aren't always patting you on the back and saying you're doing a great job. It's more, what can you do for me, or can you get my road paved, or can you,
it's what government can do for them, right?
What can you do for me? And if you don't do it, some people feel like they need to correct you. get you on the right track. But
yeah, that's the thing about society is we all want the things that we want from the government, but we all want to pay less taxes. So,
that's right.
It's a battle that I know people on elected officials, especially on a local level, with the county commissioners, because y'all basically said that in the school board that it's dang if you do and dang if you don't.
That's right. It's not a job where you're going to get, you're going to get a call every day, somebody saying you're doing a great job. But I have created a lot of friends in my district, all over the district, and the majority of them that I've been to see said, I'm glad you're in the race. You've done a good job. You've treated us fairly, and we're going to support you. So we'll just have to see if they support me or not.
Okay, we got Mike Robertson here, County Commissioner, running for re-election. Bob?
Speak of the District 3, what all does that entail? How big a district is it?
Man, you start down at Mount Pleasant, and you come this way, and you go all the way to almost to the end of Rainier Road. And it's huge. There's 3,500 voters in my district. So, and by the way, I sent every one of them a printed color postcard this week they should be getting, asking them to re-elect me. And I was thinking about, do you care if I talk about some of the projects that we've done?
Go right. That's where
Go right ahead. It's your time.
I got 17 roads that's being restriped now, and they're all been done except for 3. I got a grant to do the Whaley Road, and we resurfaced the Whaley Road and striped it. I got a grant to do the Penn Holloway Road, and I got a grant to do Rainier Road. We're going to widen it and resurface it all the way through and pave it. So I got some good projects coming up this year with the DOT. The DOT approved us for all the bells and whistles down on Morning Glory across the train track, where the accident was. So that's coming, and that's about $340,000 to put one of those up, and it's not going to cost us anything. So I got some good projects going. I met with some good people. I'm getting to know some people up in the state. I was real proud that about 3 years into this thing, I got my certification. And I can honestly say that I never missed a class that the county paid for. We've heard of that before, but I've never missed a class that the county paid for. I've been to all of them, and I got my certification. So, really, it's kind of like you laugh about it. The county's got a lot invested in me. I got a lot invested in the county learning how to do this job, but they got a lot invested in me financially. So, I'd like to stay around and make it all work out and be a good deal for both of us.
Y'all are basically mandated by the state to attend training seminars. The state wants their county commissioners throughout the state to be school board members, whatever, trained the best they can be.
Right. And if you're not certified, you won't serve. You'll have to give it up.
Well, the big issue that you mentioned on the county is the budget. That's all you hear about, financial woes, looking to cut, try to save money. The flip of money finally came in. I think the county's not had a meeting since the flip of money arrived, so that was good news. So the legislators were commended for that. That was a big issue. I know Bill Werkheiser worked hard to get that flip of money for Wayne County, but they kept getting bombarded, and I know both the school board members, superintendent, the county administrator, the county commissioners constantly said, look, we need that money. It's our money, and it's affecting our budget. So do you think that'll relieve some of the pressure with the budget, or talk about the overall budget in general?
It will, and I was proud of those 3, Bill especially. Bill worked hard at it, and then Chad and Blake works really close with us, talking with us. They worked hard for us. And they knew that we needed that money, and it belonged to us. And so that's a good thing. And I think one of the reasons that we got our tax digest in on time last year, we were the 29th county in the state to land that thing, which was good. We've been last for about 10 years, but we've looked at the budget. It cut $1.2 million out of the budget this year, so you know, we're running a lean budget. We don't have any. We're not just throwing any money away. We're keeping it tight, and we're gonna get to the point to where we operate on what that tax digest is. I mean, if the tax digest is $22 million, we can't have a budget of $24 million. You know, all the money that comes in from taxes is all we got. So we're learning that we got to do that. We just got to say no to ourselves. We got to say no to people that wants things, and we got to cut when we need to cut. And you know, the last thing we want to do is ever cut somebody's job, and we haven't cut any jobs, and we haven't laid anybody off, and we haven't furloughed anybody. But you know, if we don't get the budget under control, we could have to do those things. And you know, I would hate with a passion for when I was with Farm Bureau working for them to walk in and say, we got to make some cuts. Your job's gone. Man, I would probably went out and shot myself.
Well, the big problem has been well documented in both the paper and here. You know, tax digest is down the last several years, which is, you know, which hurts as well. So the revenue's just not coming in that was projected. You know, everybody projects what the 1 cent sales tax will bring in, but it doesn't bring in, you know, right. So that's a problem too. When you project it's going to bring in this much money and it brings in $500,000 or $1 million less, then you're $1 million in the hole. Plus, I want to talk about the tax anticipation though, because that's the thing that just drives me crazy. I don't understand. You know, it's up to $6.5 million now before you even begin the fiscal year. So how does the county commissioners, what's the game plan to eliminate the tax anticipation note?
Well, Ed told us that he was going to ask for that much, and we were only going to use it as needed. So we're hoping we're going to come in a good bit lower than that. And then he knows, you know, he made a statement that he's built it into our budget some to put some money aside where we can start building us a fund that we will have. I told him, my opinion was when the flip of money come in, you know, anybody that runs up here and says, I got this project, I got that project, just say, we've already put that money over the side for a savings plan, and we're going to hold it tight. And I think you got to learn, you got to learn to save, Bob, whether you want to or not. And then you can put some money on that tax, you know, that note there and get it paid off. And then before long, if we need some money, we need to get it from ourselves. We don't need to go get it and pay interest on it. We need to get it from ourselves, and that's going to be the goal. And it's going to take. I'll go out on a limb and say, if you give the guys 2.5, 3 years, we're going to get that note to zero, and then we're going to start. If we borrow money, we'll borrow from ourselves. You know, my dad used to tell me that all the time. He said he bought a car one time and loaned himself the money. That's them old timers, Butch. You know, that's how they are. My dad's 87 now, so he knows all about that.
My grandma and granddaddy Jackson, that was my mother's parents, they never borrowed money. When they went and bought a car, they paid cash down the barrelhead. You know, anything they bought, they didn't. You know, that's what they did. They never borrowed a dime.
I know I was visiting with my dad one time, and he was writing himself a check. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I borrowed $17,000 to buy that car out there." He said, "I'm paying myself back every month with interest."
Well, I guess if you grew up and was in the Great Depression, especially as adults back then, it made an impression on you that you know, you try to pay things by cash as much as can.
You know, the hard facts about the thing is, and what Bob asked, is that we got to make that note disappear, and we got to live on what the tax digest is. And if the tax digest is down like it is now a little bit, and we're hoping to bring some businesses in. We got the concrete business coming in, but if it's what it is, it's what it is. And if it is, then we've got to operate on a smaller government.
Mm-hmm.
And if, you know, we got to say, you know, we can't have 25 people working over here in this area. We're going to have to make it happen with 20, and that's hard.
That's just not replace people when they retire.
And don't replace people when they retire. Get our insurance down lower. That's one of the biggest things. And we actually have. We actually have. And And we actually have 87% of all our claims last year, we used our own hospital, which was good.
Great.
We used our own hospital because we got a great hospital. We got some great guys running it. So we before that, it was like about 47% before I came in office, and I was one of the main ones that pushed, why are you not going to our hospital? Why are you going somewhere else?
And it's a county,
to our hospital.
and it's a county-owned hospital.
Yeah.
It's not privately owned. It's not owned by a big corporation. We, the citizens of Wayne County, own that hospital.
That's right. We do.
Yeah. If you have time, we have some questions and stuff up here. We usually don't try to get into a whole bunch of detail with questions on the first time that we talk to a candidate. We want them, be prepared. So, if we do have time, we'll do that.
I just got one more question I want to get, because, like I said, I want to get this issue and give you a chance to respond, because fairly or unfairly, you've been criticized for being an ally of Republic. That seems to be the big issue with the coal ash issue and everything else. So I just want to get
an ally of what?
The no ash at all, coal ash.
Ally of Republic is what you said.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I said fairly or unfairly. I think that's why there's so many people in this race. That seems to be the issue. So I just want to give you a chance to respond to that and
I stood
discuss
up
that whole issue.
for a business, like I stood up for Rayonier. I stood up for PetSmart. I stood up for a business and did what I thought was the right thing for that business. And I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, matter of fact, I'm on really good terms with the No Ash people right now. We had a meeting in Peggy Riggins' home not long ago and brought all the Republic's big brass in, including Drew Eisenhower, and we had a great meeting, had a great breakfast, and we got that planned again. And Lindsey Thomas he's been kind of overseeing that for us and taking notes, and we've been exchanging ideas. But I think my relationship with Republic is the reason since 2015 there's been no coal ash. Because I ask them every day. When I would go out there and visit with them and look over the operation and ride and look over, I've probably been 25 times out there, Butch, and rode and looked at the operation, seen what they were doing, looked at the wells. I know how the wells work. I just didn't go into it blind. But every time I would go, I would say, we don't want any coal ash in this county.
Mm-hmm.
And you can help us out by not doing that, because it's just not going to be good for us. So since 2015, Drew Eisenhower said no coal ash. 16, no coal ash. 17, he said, I'm not going to bring any coal ash. He sat in my house 3 months ago and looked at me and said, I'm not going to bring any coal ash. I said, when are you going to sign a paper that says you're never going to bring any? Not yet.
But at least there's open communication.
There is.
That's what needs to be done, not hard feelings, not trying to negotiate through the media and stuff like that. In the living rooms, in the homes, casual environment, and trying to get things worked out. And hopefully it will continue to be worked out for the betterment of the citizens of Wayne County.
Well, I think that, there are some people that looked us in the eyes and said, look, if we can all sit down, like you were just saying, Butch, we can sit down and talk about things. And then after we had one meeting, in that second meeting, we all going to lay down something we think needs to happen to make this thing better. We need to get involved with gas out there with them. We need to get involved, and they've been, Chris Biloxi, before he left, has been talking to me for a long time about creating a hub right here in Jesup where all their trucks would come into Jesup.
Mm-hmm.
And we would service them, and we would fuel them up, and then they would go to Swainsboro and pick up the trash and come back and dump it here like they always do. They do it anyway, but all their trucks and everything with the hub would be in Jesup. Can you imagine how many jobs?
So you're looking at creating jobs with that?
Yeah, creating jobs. The fuel that they would buy from us, the parts that they would buy from us, the tire people that would sell tires to them. So.
So they have done it different places now, and they're just wanting to create one hub, and they may think, and Jesup, Wayne County may get that.
That's right.
They're talking about it.
We've been talking real hard about that for a good while here, but I think we all want to work together, and I know Peggy and I have worked hard on putting meetings together, and she's been really good at it. At first, it was bomb. We hate coal ash. We hate Republic, but I think everybody's come around and said, look, they got a job to do, And I don't know where we're going to take our trash if we don't take it out there. I don't want to take it to Savannah and pay $80 a ton for it, where we're paying zero now.
Okay.
Can you imagine what that would do to our budget?
Right. Well, we're about 30 seconds from ending. Sorry we can't get to these questions and comments up here, but we plan on having each candidate come in kind of an introduction type situation, and then come back again in a few weeks to open it up for questions and comments through our text messages, because we got several of them up there. But y'all kind of touched on a lot of those, not all of them. But Mike Robertson here, county commissioner, running for re-election, has opposition. And Mike, we do appreciate you coming in this morning.
Appreciate
here
you
on the world famous Butch and Bob show. And we look forward to having you back on again.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. You've been listening to the world famous Butch and Bob's here on Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup, just down from the big red caboose by Jesup Premium Storage, located out here on the Waycross Highway, and also brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. Coming up soon, we got some Wild Adventure tickets we're going to give away, and no telling what else. A lot of great stuff coming your way in the next 30 minutes, and then at 9:03, we'll have today's best country music for you all day. Right now, let's check in with news from Fox News Radio.
Father didn't know best. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The day after Travis Reinking was captured in some woods near the Waffle House, where he's accused of murdering 4 people in Tennessee. His father is also under scrutiny. Fox's Evan Brown has more on both live.
And Dave, Travis Reinking's father back in Tazewell County, Illinois, had agreed to take possession of and not return 4 firearms confiscated after Reinking was arrested trying to penetrate security at the White House last year. One of those 4 weapons was the AR-15 used at the Waffle House this weekend. Nashville police recovered 2 guns from his apartment, matching